Hi everybody, this is Levi Clay and I would like to welcome you back to another episode of the Guitar Souls. We're here on set filming in Magnum Sound here in Wishaw. I'd like to thank the guys at Magnum for allowing us to come in. We've actually got the manager from Magnum in, Mr. Mike McLaughlin from Party Cannon and Magnum Sound. Mike, how you doing? Good to see you.
Good, thank you. And you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Good, good.
Kendo is back to say some more horrendously offensive things, hopefully. Strong opinions and a strong chin by the looks of things today.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, we like that.
I'll be putting some nice spin on some of the things you see.
Good. And my friend for many years, Mr. Doug Cartwright, who guitar teacher down in London, the Rhythm Studio, well worth checking out there. He's played in a few bands, most notably, obviously, Hellcat Molly with myself, but has a record out of his own with Beneath Dead Waves. And he's working on a new project called
Secondary Concerns. Well, my new band's called Amid the Barren and Lost, and hopefully we're going to have a new record out, like our first record, by the end of the year.
Cool. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We have a subject to talk about today, and rather than doing things in the old-fashioned way of the 20 questions, I thought we'd change the pacing up a little bit. And what we're going to do today is just jump straight into the subject. So the subject today is gigging. The reason I thought this was quite an interesting subject is because many of you out there may be in bands yourself looking to go out and play gigs, tour, you've got an album to promote or whatever. Ever. And I have experience in that setting, but everybody here also has experience in that setting, and it's all different experiences which have it informs your decisions in different ways. So let's start out with myself, seeing as I'm the horrible cynic. I'll tell you my story, you guys already know it well.
Okay.
Gigging out on the London scene, I'm the, as I say, the forever cynic. I hate the gigging thing.
I was actually pretty much there for most of your experience of gigging on the London scene.
Exactly.
Actually, it was enough to turn most people cynical.
Yeah, to sort of ploughing your heart and soul into writing music and then just being bent over and raped by promoters as they tell you need to bring X amount of people up to their gigs. So they can make their money. And we've got gigs that we did where we promote them hard and we turn up and we're like headline support or whatever, and the first band goes on and there's like one or two people in the venue, and we go over to the promoter and we're like, you don't think you're not making our fans pay to come and watch this, because we might as well just bring them to a fucking rehearsal. And she's like, well, I've got to make my money. And we're like, well, I don't think so. We'll just tell everybody not to fucking come. So
we actually had several gigs where we text as many people as possible and told them don't come anymore. Just cancel there. Just literally just don't bother, because it's just like, I don't want to make money for someone who's done fuck all to earn it, basically.
Yeah. So, but my thoughts are that maybe that's a London thing, because the music scene is so busy down there. Everybody seems to be in a band, and every pub has music on at the weekend. And you want to avoid going to see music, because most of the bands are shit, because promoters are just trying to make their little bit of money and churn the new bands in that will bring their girlfriend and their mum down to a gig, and then fuck off and move on to the next band. We would go out to our local on a Friday or Saturday, and there'd be someone at the door going, "Sorry lads, £4 to get into tonight's band's on." We'd be like, we'll just go somewhere else, which kind of makes us part of the problem. But it's just. We'll
probably move on to that a wee bit later. Before we do that, you gigged in London as well.
I still gig in London.
You still gig in London?
I still live there. Like I'm just visiting Kent. That's why you haven't seen me around so much.
I thought Levi kept you in a case. He just opened the case. Pop up, Doug. Oh, he's here.
I don't know if you've just been thinking I'm unsocial or something. I live about 450 miles away, man.
Yeah, well, I'm unsocial. But my point is, have you done some gigs recently, or what's your experience without Levi, and is it similar?
Well, it's generally a lot. It's a lot more relaxed without Levi. Certainly, there's a lot. It's a lot less confrontational.
People like you were the main confrontation with promoters.
I actually, one of my favourite gig memories of playing with Levi was the gig where we got delayed going on because the sound check of another band had overrun so badly, and then we played 3 songs, maybe 4 songs, about 15 minutes in, and then they cut us. They were like, "No, you've got to stop now, because otherwise the whole night's going to run over." And Levi just straight off stage, straight up to I can't remember if it was the promoter or the sound guy, someone straight up, "You're a cum." That was it. No, there was no room for debate or discussion. It's just off the stage, like still plugged in, like bringing the marshal with him, like, "You're a cum." That's it.
Let's add the details.
It might be possible to say there might have been some problem on the other side, and some of the discussions
Yeah.
we had.
But let's not forget, in that particular setting, the venue was full of people in Hellcat Molly t-shirts.
Yeah,
and we
who'd
were
all
being,
spent like a tenner to get in,
and
and we
for a
played
charity night,
four songs.
and we were being booted off so the next act could come on time to get everything running, and that act was a DJ.
Yeah, we weren't being kicked off because there was a DJ doing half-hour sets between each band, and they were worried the DJ wasn't going to get his full set.
But
so it's true to say that probably half the venue. Well, that's an exaggeration, but there were a lot of people there who'd paid a tenner to come in specifically to see us.
So, but to put things on track again, like the reason I think it's a great conversation with Doug here, and as Kendo pointed out, you're still in London doing the gigging thing. After your experience of gigging with me and gigging with Beneath Dead Waves, you're putting a new record out now. What's your sort of thoughts moving forward in terms of gigging in London and that scene, and then we'll compare that to how the guys up here think about things.
It's a really difficult one. Like, I mean, I'm making out like it's all Levi's fault, and you know, it kind of is. But like, even when he wasn't around to ruin it, like, I mean, it was still hard work. I gotta say, it's like, you know, there's a few people that like I'm primarily talking about the London metal scene, but I think, you know, I know people in different scenes that are actually quite different. So maybe that would be something to talk about in a bit. But my own experience of playing in, you know, proper original heavy metal bands in London is that there's a few people, like, you know, good promoters, like really putting their heart and soul into it and trying to make it into something special. There's a lot of sharks around that are just kind of taking advantage of maybe younger bands that with less experience who think they're like paying their dues by being ripped off and having bad experiences. And just generally there's a lot of gigs where, you know, you put so much work into it, and then when you get there, it's just a real disappointment. Like, really, just the bleakest. Like, probably, in fact, definitely the bleakest gigging experiences of my life have all been doing independent, original metal band gigs in London, I would say. Yeah. But there are good things to it as well, which I'm sure we'll get onto. But I would say, and I imagine anybody who's watching this who has played or does play in a metal band in London will appreciate what I'm saying. I don't think I'm saying something too controversial there.
Probably playing in a metal band across the UK.
I was going to say that.
It's not isolated. Up here you get pay to play, and you get a lot of times where the promoter's the only person who does no work and gets all the pay. There's been instances in Glasgow where I've played gigs when I was younger, and you turn up to the venue, you were told you to sell 20 tickets, you maybe sold 8, and the promoter would expect you to give him the rest of the money.
Yeah.
No.
I think
there's your payment. Goodbye.
I think what we're touching on is pretty much the landscape throughout the UK.
I must add that actually my experience, like when I've played a lot around just the south coast and the south in general, and it all around there. Like, I've never really made it as far as Glasgow or like up here, but certainly all the kind of I'd found the same thing pretty much everywhere.
But there's two contrary bits of evidence to that. One is when bands are playing in the town that we're living in, we will go down because a band is on, which I've never really experienced anywhere else. It's like, there's music on, let's go and see it. But also, pulling it back to Mike, I just assumed that everybody that was gigging on the metal scene all sort of agreed, like, gigging is such a ball ache and you get no reward for the extreme amounts of hard work and passion that you put into your art. But then we come on to Mike, who's in Party Cannon. Things have really picked up for you guys. You've toured Europe regularly, America, you're about to go on your second US tour.
Yep.
So the question is, what's the secret? What's different? How are things different for you? How have you managed it? Because obviously Kendo's doing his thing, so it could help you guys.
I don't think there's any secret. I think it's really just how you approach it mentally and constructively. If you're constantly thinking, these gigs are going to be shit, you won't enjoy it, the fans won't enjoy it, you won't book gigs and you won't progress. If you constantly think, we're going to be the next Guns N' Roses or Metallica and we're going to tour in nightliners and be looked after, you're never going to get anywhere. You're going to sit in a van and hate yourself. So be realistic, be agreeable, and just book gigs and go and do it. That's all we do, is network.
So you're suggesting that the Hellcat Molly tagline, bigger than Hitler, better than Christ, was probably not the...
No, what I'm suggesting is that you don't have the financial backline to justify that, you know.
I played a black metal band and I wouldn't even put that in there.
That was him.
You know.
And I love it to this day.
My first band
there was obviously an element of tongue-in-cheek about that. Like,
I hope so.
Tongue-in-cheek.
It was literally describing like a group of students with like bigger than Hitler. It's like... It's definitely not.
My favourite tagline was one of my first bands, the Assassins, and it was louder than your sister.
That
was a good one.
What I love about the scene up here, and I don't know if it's been a natural, I think it has been an organic thing, is that a lot of the bands, I think maybe just out of friends, because a lot of people bought guitars off each other. Well, what band are you in? Or what band? And then you started co-headlining and making lots of gigs together. And before you know it, it's kind of like a team event. You've got your band, you've got some other bands. Well, name some of them. I think the likes of Scoratura do your thing.
Scoratura just signed the same record labels
exactly,
as well.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So and a lot of those bands who are from the same area, they put on big gigs, so they all bring their friends down, and it becomes a big network. And before you know it, it becomes a really big thing. And I think that's been a big success of you guys, because not only have you got like a travelling support, people will kind of almost ignite and say, by the way, these guys who took over Glasgow, they do the slam events. You know, when it comes to Manchester, it's going to slam you hard and stuff like that. And it's good fun, it's great, and I think maybe that's where things have excelled up here, is that people have started to think, well, let's do this together. We love this scene. We're on the same bands doing the same sort of music. If we play our stuff, we're going to get the same sort of audiences. There's going to be a lot of stuff there that we can do together. So I think that's what happens. And
do you think then that there's potentially what needs to happen is a change in everyone's mindset, in that there's music on, go and see it.
Yep.
Do you think there's a problem with audiences as well as bands? Like how do we go about fixing this? Because I believe the reason I gave up on it is nobody wanted to come and see me play, and it's not because they didn't enjoy music. That most of them were musicians. Obviously, we had fans outside of the musicians side of things, but they didn't want to come down because they had to stay in that night and practice and promote their gig that was coming up next week, and sit on Facebook and send links to people saying, check out my band. Like this, surely it goes everywhere. It's not just about the bands, it's about fans. Like if you love music, go out and support it. Go out and spend money. I pretty much every gig I go to, if there's a CD there, I buy it.
Yeah.
Because I know how much of a difference it makes to the band. It fucking helps.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more than that. I think what Mike does, and he can demonstrate and probably talk more about me from an outside. I know I'm a close friend of yours, but from the outside, if I was looking in, it looks like you jump off stage as soon as you finished, go and see all the crowd, party with them to watch the other bands that were playing, and just having that kind of relationship with the band members, people watching the stuff, they just feel that they're all part of this big thing. So it's not just the people that are playing, there's actually the fans that are going, I'm also contributing to make sure my favourite guys, my friends, are going to make this, and we're going to make this a real cool thing. To the point where we've actually got something really quite special here. It's not maybe quite where we want it to be in a sense, but overall we're starting to build a community here.
You find that in quite a lot of places actually across the UK and Europe especially, because that's where kind of brutal death metal and slam is probably its biggest, if not America. But you do find that if you go to these gigs, although it's quite an underground scene to a degree, it's a bit of a niche market, people that go to the gigs are people that are interested in that music, will go to gigs and they will support, and there's a great deal of networking in it.
Yeah.
A lot of people just know each other through the bands, but also support each other's band even without thinking about it. Like, a few times in America last year, people came to the Party Cannon gigs and was talking away to them, and I'm like, holy shit, I recognise you, and then they feel like a band that basically blow Party Cannon out of the water.
Yeah.
But they've came to the gig to see Party Cannon or somebody else on the tour.
Yeah.
And it's all just very humble. And it's cool as well, because it makes you think, well, there is a really good community involved here. It's not just, I'm in a band, we want to play gigs, we want to sell tickets, and we want to be bigger than everybody else. It's not like that.
But therein is, like, the evidence is right there. Like, I put out an album, worked really fucking hard on it, and the amount of people that emailed me asking for a free copy when it comes out is pretty fucking astonishing. But the really scary thing is, all of the people that I was going to give a free copy to regardless, out of respect, friendship, they'd all pre-ordered it and purchased it, because they understand, like, this is the industry that I'm in and I love, and I can't expect to reap reward from it unless I'm sowing money into it. And then the people that aren't doing that support, they're the ones that are like, oh mate, send us a copy of your album, I'd love to check it out. It's like, you fucking kidding me? Who the fuck are you? I spoke to you on Facebook 2 times.
That's like a fucking tenner. Just give. It's not a lot of money. You're talking maybe missing a takeaway or 2 rounds at the pub.
Yes, but that tenner,
or
that
one
tenner,
if you live in London.
that's
half a pint.
That's a big deal to me.
Like a half, yeah.
It's a big deal.
It adds up.
I think the difference is though, with Party Cannon, the money that the band makes doesn't go in any of your pockets. It just goes on the band, maybe getting new t-shirts or helping with touring or whatever. We put our own personal money into the band as well.
Yeah.
I feel
Not a lot, but a little bit. Whereas yours, quite a lot, it's tied into your actual life as well,
Yes.
because that is part of your own income, that's
Yeah.
part of your living.
Yeah.
So maybe I see it a bit different. I'm quite relaxed about the financial side.
Mm.
Not just because of that, because Chris is really good with the band, he's excellent at managing all that kind of stuff. And we are quite lucky that we're in a niche market where people are interested in buying pre-orders, are interested in buying t-shirts and merch,
Yep.
and coming out to shows, and that you don't get any pay-to-play promoters. It generally doesn't happen, because all the gigs are put on by people in the scene, people with a vested interest. Case in point, we played in Holland, and the promoter that put it on had us to her house before the gig and fed us, just made us dinner. I mean, that's someone who's interested in the scene and just wants to look after people that she's putting gigs on for.
Yeah.
She very regularly has people
And,
stay at her
and
house as
that
well.
comes back to what I said before about there are some promoters out there and people who are really tirelessly working just because they believe in metal and the different subgenres of metal and they're trying to make it really good. And I think it's really important to mention people like that because obviously there are so many people out there who's just
Absolutely.
doing nothing, taking advantage, just trying to make a cheap buck, but it's really easy to get focused on that. But there are people out there that I've worked with that have just gone above and beyond and like it's kind of almost like a shame because the return for them is quite low. It's normally the people that are really going to try and treat you well and make sure it's good for everyone and are oftentimes walking away with a lot less from it than the people that are really doing nothing and taking advantage of people.
There's a good telltale sign to know who those people are, and they're the people who don't really sell themselves. People who are quite modest about being promoters generally are the ones who actually look after people and do it for the scene, for other people and for their own personal gains and just enjoyment, not for
You know, I find that's
financial.
true in all elements of music as well. Like
True.
the ones who are a bit quieter and kind of don't kind of let on everything they're doing or immediately want to tell you all about it. And normally the people that are kind of actually got something good going on and the ones that have got to tell you about everything straight away, it's normally like early warning sign, right?
Yeah, not always, but definitely for the most part. But for gig opportunities and promoters, I'm always very sceptical and think if this deal's too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
Definitely too good to be true. There's not really any times we've had any bad experiences with gigs, which is quite nice. We've always really been looked after, and if there's ever been any issues, they've always been ironed out. There's some great tour stories, but
Yeah.
we've not been shafted, which is nice.
I still think you said something quite important then and said what's the secret and what's the way forward now. I might be totally wrong in 10 years from now, but I think now that we've got this kind of place where music is different, we all need to accept that. It's not the way it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Oh, the
And
music
a lot of
industry's
people's
completely different, you're right.
a lot of people's mindsets are still there. You know, they just think it's going to happen for them or whatever, right? And I think this idea where you get the friends, and because I've watched two local, totally away from the guitar thing and away from the kind of metal and rock thing, there's local indie bands here, and I've seen them being carried to success by the support of the network of friends they've got. We've got two local bands from Wishaw, Glasgow area, who are going to play Tea in the Park next year, and they weren't even a band last year or 2 years ago. You know, apologies if I've got the names wrong. I won't mention them just in case. But I think obviously one of the success stories from Modal was that a band called La Fontaines, who were just high school guys together. You know, and it was a real core network of friends that went to school together, who went to the same pub together, and they really supported them. And they got, I'm sure they got signed, and they headlined. You know, or it was certainly high up the bill at Tea in the Park, and all that was really got there because the fans really felt like they shared the experience. They felt like I was a big part of this as well as the band actually promoting. And obviously they've got a level of being quite good. It's not my thing, hands up, not the indie guys, you know, being the black metal person I am, however. And then locally, recently, there's been other guys that have used that same sort of wave of success. And when I look at that kind of model almost, it's a totally different type of music, but it's the same model or mechanism almost that's happened with the Party Cannon thing and all the bands coming together. And then on the back of it, you see a lot of those guys bringing in their friends' bands and the rest of it, and it becoming a real big scene. So I think maybe the success in the future might lie down to that strong network that you can build and be part of, you know.
Honestly though, that's great up here, but in London, when everybody you know has a band, every friend you have is like, oh, my band's playing next week, you should come down. It just, no one's willing to support each other.
But I don't
Not-
think that's the
not
case. I think
teams.
it's saturated.
I don't think that is the case. I think that there's a lot of bands that maybe you don't have any reason to support them past just they're your friend, right? Especially again, I'm like beating on the metal scene. I'm going to say some positive stuff about it in a minute, but like there's a lot of metal, like when something's popular, there's like 100 bands that all do that sound immediately, and the reason maybe you get disillusioned with the London thing a bit is obviously there's a lot of bands in London, so you see a lot of these, you know, kind of bands doing the copy thing, and it kind of, that can be a bit of a problem for it, I think. Whereas up here, maybe, you know, I mean, like the current trend is the gent thing, right? And I'm sure there's a couple of bands doing that up here, but it's like there's only maybe I'm guessing that like there's like 10 bands or something, right? So it's like how it can't get too oversaturated with one sound. Whereas down there, like there's obviously like hundreds of bands. So when there's a new trend happening, that like there's a good chance that every gig you go to see, there's going to be another band doing the same kind of identikit trend thing, and that I think maybe that's where your impression of that is coming from. That feeling of it's going to be another night of that.
I think that's more so that it's a saturated market than anything. If there's lots of bands in a concentrated area where there's maybe only, say, maybe 10 venues that you would frequent and there's bands on every night, you're going to constantly get barraged with it. Whereas up here, there's not that many bands put on live music. There's probably not that many bands that want to play in pubs either. So I don't think it's the bands, I think it's the concentration of people that makes all the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really agree 100% with everything you're saying about the London thing. It's like it's this hugely different thing. But like, I don't know. I'd say like if I could say like where I'm at with it now, it's like the problem that I had when I was doing Beneath Dead Waves a couple of years ago, or the problem that we had, I think was a little bit. This is kind of something I'd be interested in your view on, Mike. Is that I think people within the band had different aspirations and different understandings of what we were really going to get from gigging. Like I already was at a point where I definitely want to perform, I definitely want to go out and play, but it's not like the be all and end all of what I do. Right, I'm in a very fortunate position where I make music, I teach music, I write about music, and that's my living. And what I want to do is build on that, and kind of hopefully that's going to be a career. Like my ultimate goal is longevity, right? So gigging the band is something that I really want to do, but I have to do it to express the art and that. But I wasn't going into it thinking we're going to gig and build up a fan base by playing gigs, and then somehow the band's going to magically explode as a result of us just playing live loads and loads and loads, and like the old school model of playing gigs and getting fans and building up. Now, I don't really believe that that's how it works now. I think that it's important, but I don't think that system works. And the problem we had was, some of the other guys in the band maybe were a little more towards the, let's try and gig as much as we can everywhere we can and build up a grassroots following like that. And it just made it very difficult because we were accepting gigs that some of us didn't want to do and some of us did, and members of the band are in different parts of the country, so it was like a huge effort for everyone to get to these gigs, and it was costing us money, and then you're playing to 2 people, and like it's just a disaster. And you do that for 6 months, and it just creates a real difficult tension, and it's quite killing, really, like that kind of thing. So where I'm at now, my new band is really nice. Is everyone's a little more on the same page, where we want to perform and we want to play, but I don't think anyone's under the illusion that we're going to build a career out of live performance. Do you know what I mean? Like, not that it couldn't get there, but that it won't get there just by us accepting every metal gig that we can possibly find and playing as much as possible, which was the conventional wisdom maybe 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you feel the same kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely.
I think you've missed a gig there, by the way. Someone's trying to ring in and get a just missed that opportunity, sorry. Too big for you now, can't do that pub's out of reach, sorry.
I think the biggest turning point in how bands get popular and get signed and get on that track was MySpace.
Right, yeah.
Because Enter Shikari started their own label and were literally touring the world. Might still be, I don't know if they're still a band, but like a band who were basically forming like new metal and rave were headlining like Wembley.
Yeah.
And that all came from them literally using a social network to share their gigs. That's insane. That's not someone coming to a gig and going, I like the style of your band, here's a contract, you need to do 5 albums, you'll get maybe 10 pence to every £3 that we make, and you'll play some gigs. It'd be like, they just went and done it, and that's an incredible achievement. Yeah. But it completely changed the game for everybody as well.
Yeah.
So,
do you think that's even an option anymore?
Being signed?
Doing that same route to success?
Depending on what kind of band you are, yep. If
you need a cool gimmick.
Hang on, which one are we talking about? The MySpace option or the live option?
Just social media option.
Yeah, the spreading.
Traditional.
The traditional
model.
No,
I mean the MySpace model.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
That's how Partycam are popular. It's not because we've got shares on Facebook, but because...
Is it not the silly logo?
That's part of it.
Flash on screen.
That's definitely the big part of it. And the not really giving a fuck attitude, but still turning up and playing the gigs and such. But I think a big part of it probably I'm actually struggling to try to articulate the way I'm trying to say it.
That's alright.
Yeah,
We've got
lost
plenty
it.
of time, man. Like
Lost
seriously.
Well, I'm afraid that's all we have time for today because Mike's. We need to put new batteries in Mike.
Just charge him up for a bit. Like,
But
we'll
so let's sort of summarise then and wind things down. I'll just go around and see if it is still just me that's as miserable about this.
Yeah, definitely is.
I actually have something else that we could kind of get onto a little bit there.
Me too.
Well, go on, it better be quick.
Okay, are we out of time here, Levi? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, we've been around for 25 minutes.
Well,
No one's watching anymore anyway.
Yeah. I'll quickly go in. Like, I think there is a big difference when we talk about gigging as a whole, because we can't just say this experience is all about trying to promote your own music and the rest of it, because we need to really understand that there is a gigging side where the working bands. You know, we've got working bands who go out and they're cover bands and they're very successful. They go out, they've got full pubs, full audiences, this, that and the other. All they're doing is covers or weddings. There's a wedding band, there's a gigging thing. And those guys are super successful.
Honestly, I do something like that. You should see how many bar mitzvahs I've done in the last 12 months. Like, I'm not even joking. Like.
I do, whilst I understand that what we really would like to achieve from gigging is our own music being out there and being successful, or just sharing that experience and having packed audiences and having the real buzz of live playing. And some people feel that they can only get that from being in a cover band. And to be fair to them, some people that's their now true job. That's what they do for a living. I know a lot of guys who that's what they do. Thursday through to Monday. They get to go out, play instruments. Would they put their hand in the heart and say it's they absolutely love it? Maybe not. Some of them. But ultimately, they all agree in the kind of sentiment, well, I still get an opportunity to play my instrument live, I've got great gigging experience, I get to the point where I'm very competent musician because I've got no chance to really alleviate, I need to go out and do it, and I get paid for it. I'm surprised we didn't get into that look.
I'll shut that subject down because it just seems so relevant to this. The subject here is like, how to make your art successful.
Right, okay.
Those people aren't sat watching this. They're out there draining their souls, playing sex on fire, for a paycheck. There's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, like I've done that as well. I've done that as well, but you've got a ready-made market there. We're talking about creating your own music and whether you have the energy in you to go out there and play that to people, because generally speaking, people aren't fucking interested in listening to your music. They want to hear you play the songs they know and love.
Yeah,
we know that. That's fine. Like that's a big part of how a lot of musicians.
Totally irrelevant though, because what I have seen in the past, and probably we could come up with examples through some of the guys that play locally here, is that they've almost had to go through to show they're competent being a covers band first, and then people go, oh, this guy's really good. Then I wonder what his stuff sounds like. Rather than doing it the other way around and then being defeatist and going, oh dear, I just need to play in a covers band for the rest of my life. All those blues covers, can't wait. So
but I've seen the music.
I've seen a lot of people become successful, or at least get to the chance where they're able to do what they did because they did, almost like you said, paying your dues. They'd done the cover band thing for quite a while before they actually went, right, now I can step up and play my actual music. And I know a couple of guys that in local music studios, etc., who teach music, that's now that they've done the cover band thing, that they're ready to take that step and go, right, I'm going to launch my own stuff now. So I don't think it's cool.
It's going to, like, doing the cover thing anyway is going to improve your stage performance, your confidence on stage, how relaxed you are when you play. Like, it's important, and you should all go out and do it.
I think it just depends. It just depends as well on what your actual goals are and what you want to do. Like, for some people, like, it's all about performance. And like, in fact, for a lot of people, is they don't necessarily have the drive to be, the soul or the central creative force of the music. Like, maybe they just like contributing parts of that. Like, but for a lot of people, live performance is what it's about. So
go do covers.
But
you'll have an audience.
But that's what I'm saying. So like, I don't think you can dismiss that or discredit it or something.
I don't want anyone to think I'm discrediting it.
It's just a different.
I love
thing.
That. Like,
I think
even
with the scope of this conversation, it's been. I mean, it's interesting, but it's also limited because, like, all of us really are in the metal scene, right? So we can talk really well about that. But like, the one thing I see a lot when I go to a lot of gigs in London. And see a lot of people play. I do know what you're talking about with that kind of, I can't. But I do go and watch a lot of people play, but not that many of them are metal people anymore. A lot of my friends are musicians that play in different things, and there's some of the scenes are just so different from metal scenes, and there's some of them out there that don't have that problem. I think one of the big problems metal has is it has to be in specialised venues, or like heavy rock, it has to be in specialised venues, and it has the focus of it has to be. I can't go and play in like the local pub in Ladbroke Grove or something and play death metal at them, because people will just leave and the pub will hate it. It will just be a disaster.
Why not?
Right? It's
That's his entire career.
I do that.
yeah, I get
So I don't
that.
know,
But I guess maybe there's a difference. Like, but I can do that. You know, I come from Swanage, like a little in Dorset. It's a small town. It's like there's no way in hell that my band could go and play in one of the pubs down there. You know, it'd be an absolute disaster, like for everyone. And I mean, absolute shambles. We'd be on the, you know, we'd be run out of town. And like that's just the way it is. It's like it's a niche specialist thing. If you're making a form of music that's maybe more acceptable to the general civilian population, like there's a different world of opportunity. I think.
I think to make it more accessible, it should be more marketed. Though you should actually just expose people to it. There's plenty.
Expose yourself.
Yeah, that's
Carefully.
Right now.
yeah.
Again on camera. Sick of this.
There's plenty of other places in the world where metal's probably like the norm, like, rather than pop music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Germany, Rammstein are probably one of the biggest acts there, probably around the world as well. And they're not really like Kylie Minogue. You know what I mean? They're not pop. They're accessible. They're still a metal theme.
So have flamethrowers at your shows.
Yeah, but eat glass. That's the other tip.
I think it brings it full circle about what you were saying there, and I think that's why maybe the success does lie in this kind of social team effort. You know,
Yeah.
if we get this, if you've got lots of bands and you're all pals and you're in it together, and you've got a whole line of guys that are doing this, there's got to be an expectancy from the fans going, that night's for me. You know, my friends are there. I know the type of music I'm going to get. I know, and maybe that's the key. You know what I mean? Bands should really unite. Bands should start teaming up and putting on their own venues, their own shows. If they look into it a little bit about
just
it.
finding incentives for people to get involved in it.
Yeah.
That's why I really like the party kind
love
of
it.
thing, because
Love
I've just seen your new T-shirt design and I want one. Right? It's like because you've got something
Flash
like
on
you've
screen.
just got that little new you've got something that's just made you just that little bit different. That's made it like I know that band and there's something cool about it where people want to get involved in it, and it's like maybe that would be I mean that's another conversation though, but that's like in fact that's definitely not a live related thing. But I was going to talk about how bands, you know.
Please don't.
Yeah, let's not talk about. Let's completely just forget us. Let's just cut that bit out. Cut that out altogether.
If you do get a
Can everyone just smile and agree, and we'll cut that out? Yeah, thanks,
if
guys.
You do get, if you do
Great
get
one.
the T-shirt, remember you need to defend Party Slam.
Defend Party Slam.
Get the old T-shirt
Defend
on.
Party Slam, but the thing is, with a T-shirt like that, I want to defend Party Slam. I do.
So guys, I'm going to cut us off because we've been going for way too long. And we've got more things to talk about on other videos. Boo. But the other important thing is to throw this out to you guys that are watching at home and tell us what your experiences are of the gigging scene. Positive, negative, because we tried to tell some of our horrible stories. I'm sure Mike had horrible stories that he's not told, and Kendo, well, he's just a life full of horrible stories. It's really quite glorious.
I love it.
Yeah. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to this video, and thank the guys for doing this, and check out all of our music. And apart from Party Cannon, because they're terrible and they hurt your
Check
ears.
out their merchandise though. That's worth a look.
You've got
Don't listen, spend money.
Yes.
It reminds me of. I'm going to say this quickly. It's funny. It's like we did an interview in Beneath Dead Waves where they said, "Give us what are the 3 emotions that you want people to feel when they hear your music." And our drummer Lee Costanzo, like instantly, he went confusion, nausea, and urge to buy merchandise. That's something to live by, right?
Yeah, the Hitler thing will never go.
Yeah. So we'll leave it there. Thank you to Kendo, Mike, Doug. I'm going to drop the catchphrase. We'll do a team effort on this. I've been Levi Clay, and until next time,
I'll see you
See
soon.
you later. Got it wrong.
Teamwork, mate. You're out the team. You're out the team.
Was it in the team?